Hello, how are you? No problem.
Hey Priyank, hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, but I'm a little under the weather, so this is the
Oh
best
God.
voice that I can manage today.
No, no, I'm sure the content is good enough.
Yeah,
people would listen to the content more than anything. But
it's what.
yeah, yeah.
Good, good.
Baki, how are things? How are things going?
Things are going fine. In fact,
Great.
we can see that Australia is coming up big.
Wow.
What is your
Hmm,
take for Credla in Australia? I hope. Do you get Australia applications?
very, very minimal. I don't think we've got more than 4 or 5 applications in the last 8, 10 months.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, we don't have any university partnerships there.
Ah,
So whatever comes, would either through a
organic demand
referral.
there,
It
basically.
only comes through that through some referral or something.
Got it, got it, got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, Germany, we are wanting to fix. We are also wanting to do something in the pathways. So
Amazing.
dis- we'll discuss this with you. So I'm looking
Sure,
at giving a
sure.
very consolidated product. So
Mm,
when
mm.
the time when the student enters the India leg, at that time itself only they should get an assurance of 4 years, subject to them clearing their credits on time and all
Oh,
of that.
great,
Yeah.
great, great.
So let us see then how we kind of take it forward.
Perfect, perfect. Sounds good.
And in fact, on your one application,
Mm,
which is pending with Arijit,
mm.
so we have been discussing, but it is not um, an easy credit for us to take. I think it
Sure.
is a part collateral loan, right?
Correct,
It's
correct.
about a 20 lakh or a 30 lakh collateral on a
That's right.
1.5 CR.
That's right. Yeah.
I was chatting up with Hitesh also yesterday. I said, I
Mm,
think to the channel, I need to give a clarity.
mm,
So I
mm.
said कि मैं collateral ले आऊँ क्या? So he said collateral ले आओगे तो nothing like it, but it's already part collateral. So I
Correct.
said sometimes we keep thinking about it.
Mm, mm, mm.
So do you think there is
Not a
a
problem.
merit to speak to the customer to take a higher collateral?
So thankfully, the customer has still not finalized this option, although
Yeah,
he's paid the processing fee at Poonawala.
that
But
we will
उसके
waive off.
साथ, sorry, come again.
That we'll waive off if they go with us and if we approve the credit.
Sure, sure, sure. Of course, of course, of course. So customer is still not made up his mind. He's still open to the idea of Credila still approving it. He's
Hmm.
stuck up because of the rate of interest that he will get from Credila because it's a collateral back loan. But I'm also aware that the residential property, that's the only residential property that they own as a family over and above the commercial piece जो हमारे पास आई है. I'll speak with him. I did have a fairly long conversation with him
देखिए
yesterday.
हम कमर्शियल स्वैप
बार
करके
बात कर
अगर
लेता हूँ.
रेजिडेंशियल का वैल्यू अच्छा है तो खाली रेजिडेंशियल ले लेंगे.
Let me check. Let me
And they
check his
can
comfort.
continue to use the property, Priyank. So the
Of
best thing is,
course, of
like
course,
I stay in a house on which we have home
Anji,
loan, right?
of course, of course.
And that
Uh,
doesn't look like a liability because we think it's a loan towards the purchase of a home.
mm, mm, mm,
But somehow when we mortgage the property and that to our home, our sentiments change. I think
correct,
if we
correct.
try and declassify emotions, right?
Mm,
It's just a transaction that we are undertaking, correct?
yeah, yeah,
And especially if we do not have an intent to default. If we have an intent to default, then yes, one needs to be
of
cautious.
course. Of course. And so you would try your all the possibilities to get a no collateral loan. मतलब collateral mortgage भी नहीं करोगे अगर default की intention है तो.
But pata hai, Priyank, I was talking to Australian universities,
हाँ
right?
हाँ
Because I am
हाँ हाँ.
working extensively in Australia.
Sure.
And at that time, I wanted to check that why are you guys so stuck up on secured loans, right? Because there's
Mm,
a big
mm.
on secured, on genuine student, on repayment capacity. They said that why should an abroad education be sold to someone with limited means? We guys
Sure,
cannot
sure.
guarantee you success, right?
Mm, mm.
And it is just a means towards success. So
Correct.
we want people to make extremely prudent choices. And once they realize that things are their higher things are at stake,
Mm,
they're
mm.
forced to think. It's like, buying something on credit card versus buying something on personal loan. On personal loan, you
True,
have to
true.
sign it, and that makes you
Correct.
think twice about that expense as compared to a credit card swipe.
No, true, but
So
I
I
think that
kind
that's
of,
also the function of I wouldn't say upbringing, but maybe a cultural
yeah,
shift. Because as
yeah,
an Australian, if I'm a middle class, I wouldn't imagine, because my life is fairly settled.
yeah,
I have all the means to live a decent life in Australia, but हमारे वहाँ वैसा नहीं है, right? The aspirations are to get out of the country, right? And
true.
we'll do whatever it takes to really get out of the country. अब वो माल्टा हो या ऑस्ट्रेलिया हो, right? It really wouldn't matter so long as we are able to get out of the country. So I think that's a little shift, a little different way that we probably think here, which of course they may not be able to uh, 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 understand our ways of living. Yeah, such as life.
I know. We keep debating
Mm.
on these things.
Yeah,
How was your
yeah.
fair? I missed it last week, right?
No, no, I think it went well. In fact, we're very happy that the MD of PNB came to the event. Uh, but I think overall we had about across four cities, about 1,900 odd students walking to the event on a registration base of almost 5,600 odd registrations.
So
Surprise,
this
sorry.
Seed Global, right?
Uh,
This property is about 2 years back, 2 years old.
no, this is a 4-year-old property.
Okay. So that
Yeah,
means market has a immense acceptance because somewhere when I think of these from a marketing lens, right?
Anji.
I
Mm,
keep thinking that you have Access MBA fairs, you have Begin fairs,
sure,
you
sure.
have QS fairs, and you
Right.
guys are also trying to craft something. And then of course with dollar-loaded companies, right? It
Mm,
gets very difficult to create a space when you're
true,
spending and
true,
earning in INR, right?
true, true, true. I
So
think
that's why I was just mentally thinking that who all will be your competition from that perspective.
I think all of them are competitors in that way. But I think the work that the three of them have done in the last 5 years, 4 years, I think is stupendous to have London Business School so early signed up with them. In fact, for these events, London Business School came to India after 7 years gap, and they signed up with C to come down to India.
Yeah.
You have, I think, three universities of California working NYU, Stanford, Cornell. So I think these guys have done, I would say, reasonably well to get these kind of institutes onboarded. But we are also seeing the marketing budgets for these universities for next year may go through a horrid time. Depending on the outcomes this year, visa lag rahe, nahi lag rahe. I think that will decide how the marketing
But I'll
budgets
tell
get
you,
spent.
I am very hopeful for visas this year.
Oh yeah,
Why?
yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Mm.
So in October or November, so my husband works for a US MNC
Sure,
and has a US visa.
sure.
So, hey Isha,
Hey, hi.
Aisha, good morning.
Hello. There was no preview, it just started straight up. Hi, Priyanka. Good morning.
चलो क्वेश्चन पहला क्वेश्चन ईशा आपके लिए है
रैपिड फायर करते हैं ईशा के साथ।
हाँ, श्वेता के रहते हैं और किसी और की मजाल के हम कुछ बोल दें।
बिल्कुल आज आप ही बोलोगे आई टोल्ड यू ना सिंस यस्टरडे हाउ बैड इमेजिन माय थ्रोट इज।
आई नो शी इज नॉट साउंडिंग सो ग्रेट। आप ड्रॉप हो जाओ यार, क्रेडिला को क्या क्या जरूरत है ऐसे पैनल की? आप प्लीज गेट बेटर।
I'll tell you ईशा
बेटा
आई एम नोन टू सफर फ्रॉम फोमो। मुझे इतना मेजर
ओके,
है, राइट?
आई नो आई नो।
So yesterday, Priyank, for your this thing,
yep, yep,
Grad Right had an event shifted yesterday.
correct, correct.
Yeah. Who doesn't? They're all posted pretty much.
So what
Yeah.
happened that in office people were telling me, Shweta, छोड़ दो, you
Mm,
can't go
mm,
to the event in this.
mm,
मैंने कहा तुम्हें पता है मुझे फोमो है, right? I'll ensure I'll not drive, I'll ensure I'll not drink, I'll ensure I'll not eat, right? Because outside food will make the throat.
sure, sure, sure.
But yeah. So yes, on the
Good.
US visa note, so I
Visa.
applied for my personal visa with my kids B2
Okay,
this thing
okay,
in October.
okay.
And we were not getting slots before August 26,
Mm,
September
mm,
26.
sure.
And we were just thinking, क्या करेंगे, क्या करेंगे, क्या करेंगे. And I said, कि let's wait. We will get it. And
Right.
then we were not getting visas for 2 years. then 3 years.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
the wait
okay,
went, and I started
okay.
panicking because my husband was like, waiting is not helping. We should apply.
Mm,
Apply.
mm, mm, mm.
The other day, just before the trade deal got signed, both of
Right.
us were at home and he was just Googling, and we got the visa dates for 7th April.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
So, and these are three visas. Plus, I think
Mm.
my elder one is a very close-cut UG candidate, right? Because he's in grade seventh. So they can see that he's maybe building up his
क्या
profile.
आपको पूना वाला से लोन करवाना है?
हाँ, ये
देखिए,
अच्छा
I am
सवाल
not
किया
sure.
है।
Priyank, you will understand this. I should not take a loan for my child's study, right?
नो यू शुड एटीई है टीसीएस है
टीसीएस तो आप खत्म कर देंगे जब तक बच्चे जाएंगे, राइट? निर्मला जी
आई नो
5% का 2% कर दिया है. It's no longer an
See,
करेक्ट
and
allowance.
even
नो
even the
लॉन्गर
new tax regime, I mean, I don't know if you guys read the latest one. 88% have now already shifted to the new
शिफ्टेड
tax regime.
करेक्ट करेक्ट
So
करेक्ट
here,
So,
in fact, I was blindly following the old tax regime
hmm,
because I thought that, I pay for my parents' medical insurance and that is substantial.
hmm,
So it's cool.
60,000 है वो शायद, हाँ,
And this time
yeah,
my HR sat with me and he was like, "श्वेता आप क्यों कर रहे हो?" कहते
hmm,
देखो ये रहा आपका कैलकुलेशन और ये रहा आपका कैलकुलेशन. And I
कोई वैल्यू ऐड नहीं है. पेपर वर्क में it just buries us. I have no stress
या
on you this
या
time. ले लो जितना लेना है ले लो न्यू टैक्स regime से.
बट इज इट
So,
नॉट बेटर इफ यू हैव अ हाउसिंग लोन और एजुकेशन लोन टू गो बैक टू द ओल्ड regime?
You
Is
can,
it
you
not
can
better?
switch. You can switch. So
see, it
housing
is.
loan is not making difference. Education loan will make a difference.
अच्छा
सो हाउसिंग लोन में आपको दो मिलता है. एटीसी है जो आपका वैसे पीएफ में कवर हो जाता है 1.5 lakhs, और उसका सेक्शन 24 में उसका इंटरेस्ट रेट है विच इज टू
करेक्ट
लैक्स सो पीपल इन द हायर इनकम ब्रैकेट क्या ही है, मतलब आपका पीएफ में एटीसी निकल जाता है. So,
करेक्ट
yeah, I mean,
करेक्ट
to avoid the hassle of paperwork, I think the new tax
या
regime is better. Shweta,
बेटर
I'll talk to you about this. I had a penalty from income tax. After that, I switched. So I'll tell you. I'll call you later. For 2 successful years, I had
I'll
two,
tell you, my
matlab,
income tax
very
is
unsuccessful
such
years for me.
such horrible mess.
Hmm.
When I was a kid and I was not
Hmm.
an intelligent human, but I
Hmm.
had started earning, and thanks to City, I
कॉल
was
अप अभिषेक
in
वापस
a decent income bracket.
दूरी में
Hmm.
बात किया
I have for a full financial year paid my tax on a wrong PAN number. So my PAN number is 215A. I
Yeah,
have
that
paid on
works.
125A. And those are the days where you never had PAN validation. So HR भी इतना भोला भाला होता था कि जो आपने बोला हमने वो कर दिया, right?
Hmm.
I can't tell you when every time I have to defend it so much that why am I an income tax defaulter?
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
think students have started joining in, so I think we should
Sure.
take this conversation
Yeah,
offline.
yeah. So, Priyank,
Yeah.
just a quick question. So, we only have students now, right? Students and parents, that's our audience?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, cool. Good to
We
go.
will. Yep. We're just waiting for the PNP representative. But anyway, uh, hi. Good morning, everybody. Just allow us, a couple of minutes. Maybe a few more of your friends would join in. We're also expecting one of the senior folks from Punjab National Bank also to join in. Please bear with us for a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Uh, Priyank, I'm not sure if it's me. I
Priyank, I can't hear you.
We
That's
can't hear you, Priyank. We can't hear you. Priyank, we can't hear you.
let me message.
Priyank, yeah. I thought it was my. I think Priyank is having some audio issues. He's fixing it. Just bear with us.
Isha, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Good.
Perfect.
Sorry, you might
Sorry,
just have to go all over again.
I will do that. Apologies to everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to this session today. Thank you for taking out time to be with us on this session, which is Financing Future Leadership Dialogue. So, we've got some of the senior folks from the lending industry who are here to give us a sense of how do your application gets assessed. You're kind of hearing from the horse's mouth, and since these are some of the senior seasoned leaders, you are probably getting the most accurate piece of information. Let me begin by introducing the panel for all of you. Um, let's begin in an alphabetical order. So I'll go to Abhishek first. Sorry, ladies. Uh, so Abhishek works with Punjab National Bank Cards and Services Limited. He's been working with the bank for the last 14 years. Uh, like most of you who aspire to go abroad, Abhishek has also kind of gone through that journey 14, 15 years back. He did his undergraduate from the UK. Next, I have Isha. Isha D'Souza is the product head for education loans at Poonawalla FinCorp. She's spent over 20 years in the banking and financial services industry. I think her strength essentially lies around product strategy, digital innovation. We'll, of course, check with Isha and Poonawalla what are the innovations that are coming up in the space. Finally, Shweta. So Shweta Jain heads partnerships and marketing at Credila Financial Services. Again, a very senior banker with more than 20 years of work experience. She brings a lot of value add from her stint at Citibank. She was always a career Citibank before she decided to move to Credila. I think her expertise revolve around digital marketing, distribution, key account management, driving customer value propositions. So I think we've got a fantastic panel here. And before we actually go to the panel, let me probably, for some of you who are attending the Seed EduMate session for the first time, let me give you a sense of the kind of work that we do at EduMate. While I do have a deck, but I don't want to really go into the deck, I would rather invest more time with these stalwarts of the lending industry. So just to give you a perspective, EduMate is the financing arm of Seed Global Education. My name is Priyank Mehta. I'm one of the co-founders for EduMate. Prior to EduMate, I have been on the other side of the table where you see our panelists, worked on the lending side for a few years before deciding to come on to this side of the table. But at Teammate, we currently work with about 16 lenders, and some of our key partnerships which you see on the screen, which is Punjab National Bank, Credila, Poonawalla, and many more partnership across government banks, private banks, NBFCs, and a few international lenders as well. But without further ado, let me shift the spotlight. So over the next few minutes, I'll be asking some question to our esteemed panelists. We'll also allow each of you to ask your questions. I would recommend that start putting down your questions in the questions section that you may see at the bottom of your screen. Once we are done with the initial questions, we're very happy to get some of your questions also answered by our esteemed panelist. So I'm hoping Abhishek, Isha, Shweta, all of you are ready, all geared up. Yeah. All right. My first question is to Abhishek. Abhishek, the current generation, right, believes in instant gratification. In fact, instant gratification is a passe. Everything was supposed to come to them as of yesterday. So with these kind of expectation that the customer typically has, how does PNB as a proposition match to the expectation of the customers?
First of all, good afternoon to all of you, and it's a privilege to speak in front of you, all the market leaders. So, as a Punjab National Bank, government bank, we are very helpful to the students. So, kind of any explanation if student is giving to us, so what are their issues and how these issues to be solved. We are step by step in every process. Priyanka, just a minute. Huh?
Sure. Apologies. We are now hovering at about almost 150 attendees to the event. We expect a few more to come in. Just allow Abhishek a minute and probably answer the question. For some of you who joined late, I'll repeat the question. What we are asking Abhishek, who represents Punjab National Bank, is that with the current set of students who specifically believe that things were supposed to be given to them as of yesterday, instant gratification is also something which is passe now. How does PNB fit into this scheme of things, this scheme of thinking or consumer behavior? Sorry, just allow him maybe another 10 seconds. Yeah, I think he's back. Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah, sorry, Priyank. It was an important call from my boss, so I have to take
That's all right.
Yeah. So we should carry on.
Sure, you were saying.
So Priyank, it's so being as a government organization, see, we have a sense of sensibility also that being as a government bank, we have to help the student. So in case of any queries, if any civil disputes are also there regarding the civil score of mother or father, we are even helping them. See,
Sure.
it's as a government organization, it's a mandatory to have mother and father to be as a co-applicant. But if any civil score of mother or father is not okay, then we are telling them, okay, no need to add your father. So you can add your mother in the co-applicant, and then we can proceed with the file. See, we have three product categories. First is Saraswati, and the second one is Pratibha, and the third one is Uda. In Udan product category, we are only doing secured loan over there. There is no unsecured loan. And in Pratibha, we have almost that is carved out in Vidya Lakshmi. We have almost 917 institutes over there in Vidya Lakshmi, where we are giving the loans to the applicants. And within 15 minutes.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So is this largely focused towards domestic institutes, or do you also cover some of the international institutes?
No, in Pratibha, we are only focusing to the domestic institutes.
Okay. Thank you, Abhishek, for the response.
And even in fact,
yes,
we are also offering digital loans. And in digital loans, the students to only register their applications in the Vidya Lakshmi portal, and through that Vidya Lakshmi portal, we are doing a digital loans, and they are getting in principle sanction letter over there. And after that, the loan is being processed through our branch, and the branch is giving them the sanction letter.
So what I hear largely, Abhishek, is that with the moving times, even within a government setup, which I also understand is a very complex setup, things are changing. There are possibilities of getting faster, quicker approvals. The bank is moving with the times to give out digital approvals. Thank you so very much for responding to that question. Isha, my next question is to you. Uh, Poonawalla is one of the newest entrant to the education lending space. Uh, I understand that being a new player has its own challenges, but it also on the corresponding side has its own advantages as well. What are some of those advantages, or how does Poonawalla look at this market as a lender?
Thanks, Priyank, first of all, for having us here as Poonawalla FinCorp. And I mean, our association goes long back. And in fact, this question that you asked me ever comes ever so often because, like you mentioned, it is a crowded place, seemingly. However, let me start with some statistics, all right? So, if you see a couple of years ago, and people who've been in the industry will know this better, that only about estimated 10% of students going abroad were availing an education loan before. And with all the new players and a lot of innovation that has happened in this industry, now the number stands at an estimated 40%. However, there are still about 60% of students who are still not taking an education loan. And in fact, instead of an education loan, we see so many parents and students taking, a personal loan or a top-up loan or, gold loan. So we see
Yeah, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt, but
yeah.
how is the other forms of credit, the personal loan and gold loan,
Mhm.
not the right option to an education loan?
So one, I think the biggest differentiator is the repayment option that education, the flexibility, honestly, that education loans give, right? So the purpose of funding a student who is currently, mostly not employed and going abroad, we don't want to burden the, parent with the EMI trouble, right? So just give me a second. I thought my laptop was charged. It is sort of running out of battery. Just
No
give me a
problem.
moment.
No
Okay,
problem.
yeah, it's alive again. Sorry about that. So yeah, so the repayment bit is what
Mm,
education loans really win over all
mm.
the other immediate EMI products, and it's designed in such a way that it gives the parent the flexibility as well to repay smaller partial interest repayment, and the student, of course, can study abroad, complete their course without the stress of the parent being burdened with a large EMI, right? So that is the number one bit. Of course,
Sure.
just to give you a differentiation between a personal loan and an education loan, it is the and a gold loan, so to say, it's a tenure, right? Education
Mm,
loans come with a 15-year tenure,
mm, mm.
and
Which means
spreading out
smaller
the
EMIs also.
yes, absolutely. So I think that's what a lot of parents are not aware of. In fact, sometimes we've also seen parents who are willing to break their savings, and I'm sure a
Mm,
lot of
mm,
students here, when they
mm.
speak to their parents, they probably the parent says that let me liquidate my FD or my PF, Provident
Right,
Fund. So
right.
we see a huge gap in the overall credit uptake in the country as a whole. So, to summarize my answer, yes, it may seem crowded, but I think there is enough and more for everyone. And any company who's serious about this business understands the market. There is enough opportunity. And we are a developing economy. Students will continue to go abroad. And yes, we are happy to be part of the country's growth story.
That's amazing, Isha. Thank you so much. Shweta, there was a reason I wanted you last, right? The previous two
The best
companies.
for the last.
Yes, absolutely. Fingers crossed. But I think Credila has this distinct advantage, if advantage is the right word, of being probably a lender with over 2 decades of existence. Also, it comes with a single line of product. How would this kind of fit into your scheme of things? Do you think you are at a disadvantage from somebody like a PNB, just a representation purpose, or a Poonawala who do multiple products vis-a-vis Credila, which is only into education loans?
So, Priyank, very interesting question, right? Because I thought it will be a customer-centric webinar, but here we are discussing strategy, right? So, I'll break the answers into multiple parts because this is a very, very thoughtful question. So, with having about 2 decades of experience, yes, right, we were the starters in this, who started the entire or who prompted the entire industry to have a focus on education loan. Let us not do it as one of the program or as per their credit appetite, but let it be more student centric. So over the last 2 year to 20 years, what we have seen how the evolution has been, right?
Hmm.
So from Credla's experience, right, we have this rich database of students, the opportunities, their career outcomes, and also how a stated trajectory may not work always.
Sure.
So, in a lending business, you have to underwrite risk because you're taking
Hmm.
risk of a possible outcome,
Hmm.
right? Now it is very easy, and right now in the industry, right, and even in the given the geopolitical situations, there is a tremendous shift that is happening. Students are exploring new destinations, they are exploring new courses. The
Correct.
so-called stated career path may or may not hold true, and we have seen multiple cycles through that. So, what we have understood is that it isn't always about academics, it isn't always about institutes, it isn't only about the country and the post study work visa. It is a combination, and nothing beats the entrepreneurial spirit of the student,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I think with 2 decades of experience, we have become more student centric in our underwriting, right? We have learned that the stated CIBILs, bank statements can
Hmm.
present a picture,
Hmm.
not the complete picture. Because what we realize is once the student is capable and once he's out of education, right, and he enters the workforce,
Sure.
there's a tremendous cash flow that gets added. And I
Hmm.
think maybe that is the reason why Kretla thought and introduced the concept of moratorium. I
Yeah.
remember, and you have mentioned to the group that I come from city. So moratorium in my life first came in during COVID, when the government
Hmm.
gratefully
Hmm.
asked lending institutes to offer moratorium given the economic and the social health,
Right.
right? And I was like, how will we make money, right? Because
Hmm.
you think about profits, you think about compounding. And that's when I realized, then I joined Credila and I was like, how can we have moratoriums? And once I understood what we are betting on, right?
Hmm.
And how the student is kind of repaying. And personally, I've spoken to multiple students because I had to unlearn nearly 15 years of what I had learned in city to come back
True.
and see what we are doing in Credla. So these are some great things that we have done. Now, talking about a singular line, I think I'm very thankful that we have continued our focus to be on retail student loans.
Hmm.
Because if it wasn't that, we would have been tempted to start new lines, right? Because it's like if you have options, you want to definitely take a easier one, and you would not force yourself, and you would not think and push yourself to take a linear path. I'm often said that right now, with everybody adapting to Credla's product, right? My jog on the treadmill has become very steep. So earlier, I
Hmm.
used to walk on the treadmill. Now I have to run at an incline of 90 degrees. So that is the space of innovation, market outreach, customer centricity that we have to do. And I think linear product is our biggest advantage. And now,
Sure.
when we have a 50,000 crore AUM and we have well established teams with us, now we are comfortable on that. Yeah.
Thank you. I think what I gauge from the responses of both Isha and Shweta is that the lenses differ. They're absolutely different when it comes to a NBFC of looking at student loan as a line of business. This is something that I mentioned to a lot of students that typically, and this trend was set it up by Credila, and I think that's been followed by most of the better lenders today, is to focus on the future outcomes of the student rather than paying a lot of heed on the current financial circumstances. I think that's where NBFCs have a huge advantage. But moving on, let me get Abhishek back into the conversation. Um, Guys, just a reminder, we would soon be completing the initial questions for the speakers, but feel free to drop in your questions so that we can have the speakers answer them. Abhishek, typically when a loan application comes to Punjab National Bank, what are the typical checks? What are the typical elements that an underwriter is assessing the documents? If you can throw us a little more light around that.
Okay. Hi, Brink. So we have a very unique product if you're gonna compare with
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, that's Jatin Gyanchandani. He's the category head for education loans at PNB. Sorry, Jatin, go ahead.
So we have a very unique product. It's a pure education loan. So the only criteria what we require is the student should have more than 60% of the marks or the first division. Okay, we don't care how much the parents' income, what's mother do, what's their family income. We are not consider the family income the most important, the most vital thing for us is the student. If the student future is bright, and we see the placement record of last 3 years, and after considering these two elements, we sanction the loan. As Abhishek already mentioned, we do secure loan. So property is mandatory. But as I mentioned to you, we're not checking the FOIR. We're not checking the EPP of co-applicant.
Sorry, Jatin, can you tell what FOIR is for the larger audience?
FOIR is a eligibility criteria where we income minus the obligation, then it's the figure that come, we call it a FOIR. ABVP is the average bank balance. So we don't check both of them. Okay, so the customer is totally free financially. We don't even ask the financial of parents. In certain cases where the loan amount is more than 70 lakhs, definitely we ask for the financial just for the RBI norms. We don't check whether if the customer have 1 crore rupees in the account and if the customer have 1 rupee in the account, both are same for us. The only two criteria we say the property should be clear and student is private. We don't take any processing fees. The only thing the student have to bear is the legal and valuation charges. That's somewhere around 10-15,000. In terms of the repo rate from past 9 years, where Punjab National Bank doesn't increase the repo rate. From past 2 years, we reduce the repo rate by 1.25, where the other banks is increasing the repo rates. Punjab National Bank is a bank where the repo rate is reducing every quarterly, right? Every quarterly, we're reducing the repo rate by 0.25. It's according to the RBI MPC meeting. If RBI reduces the rate, then we also reduce the rate. And we have a special thing for the student where they don't have to pay anything extra for the forex and the insurance as well. We have a very minor amount of insurance where we give the option to the student. They can pay the insurance amount quarterly, half yearly, monthly, whatever the comfortable for them. If they want to remove it from the sanction, so we can remove that as well. They can pay the insurance amount monthly, quarterly, and when they close the loan, we give the premium refund to the student. So that's a very beneficial. So you can see it. There is no upselling is done by the Punjab National Bank in terms of the forex, in terms of the processing, in terms of the insurance.
Okay.
The pure education loan based on the student only.
Thank you, Jatin. Thank you, Abhishek. So largely what I hear is that the assessment is primarily done across three large parameters: the student, the co-applicant, and the collateral. I think those are the three elements which are being checked. Punjab National Bank only has a collateral backed product, but they are flexible in terms of the kind and the value of collateral that they can onboard a customer with. Thank you, Jatin. Thank you, Abhishek. Isha, I've been meaning to ask this question, right? Whenever a new lender comes in, there always is expectation of some innovation, some change, which will come in with the new lender. What kind of innovations are we seeing in terms of customer onboarding or the entire customer experience from a Poonawalla education loan perspective?
That's an interesting question, Priyank. So when I moved into Poonawalla FinCorp, I mean, I'm an ex-banker and the stalwarts of the industry, the biggest names here on the panel, have already been doing this business for a while. And there's only so much innovation that you can do on the product front, right? However, having done other lending products, personal loans, and of course, if you hear about the leadership at Punala FinCorp, like our MD, he's known to be a digital innovator in the personal loan industry. The instant disbursement product that came into the market in personal loans was his brainchild, and so if you compare just process to process for any unsecured loan, the kind of processes and journeys that exist in education loan as an industry are very rudimentary. Okay, and of course, a lot of credit on the structure of the product, but in terms of the process, the systems, and the entire onboarding journey itself, there are a lot of friction points, and we
Yeah.
saw that as an advantage to us because we have experience of other products. So we sort of brought in the personal loan expertise, and of course we can't disburse the product, but we can sanction the product. So we came with an instant sanction journey, which is an approval in under 10 minutes, unheard of in
Wow.
this particular
Yeah.
product or probably this industry. And it's an entire end-to-end digital journey with the capability of any loan meeting our internal policy norms to get sanctioned immediately, and the customer pays the PF and can download the sanction letter in under 10 minutes. So that's sort of a hero product, and we created that from scratch. We
That's
of course
amazing.
took the best from the industry, whatever was available, and then we put it all together and we just made it better, if I can say it like that. And it does help, right? Because when you have expertise in other products, you know what's working well. If you see today, just to give you a few numbers, if you compare personal loans and education loan as an industry in India, education loan is only 10% of the overall personal loan industry. So
Right.
there's so much work that has already happened in personal loans, and I keep comparing personal loans because unsecured loans, I mean, the whole study abroad segment, about, I would say, 70-80% of it is unsecured. Of course, you have your PSUs who are doing secured loans, but the NBFCs with a far more dynamic underwriting model are thriving on unsecured. And there we brought in another innovation where we give collateral free loans of up to 1.5 crores. We've
Amazing.
done some loans for you guys, so So
Yeah.
yes, our risk appetite is bigger, better, and we've put the digital bit, flexibility of availing a non-collateral loan of up to 1.5 crores together. So I guess that has obviously created seamless,
Mm.
execution of a loan application.
No, I got to give it, Isha, that, I think you came up with this proposition, I remember about a year back, a little over a year back. And honestly, there were a lot of apprehensions across the industry. But I think you guys have been able to execute this in a very superior, seamless manner. And kudos to you. I think the success of this typically lies with the product team. And since you represent the product team there, kudos to you, Isha. Uh, I don't know if I should say this on a
Yeah,
public forum,
sure.
but
Yeah.
while Isha spoke about a 1.5 crores without collateral, uh, we got a loan approval yesterday, as recent as yesterday, which is 2 crores without collateral. So, ladies and gentlemen, this customer does not come from a very high financial background. Father is a typical pensioner. I think it is all about making the right representation where somebody like us would help the lender in understanding it better. and the lender to, of course, mitigate it by different risks that they see along it. But thank you, Isha. This is brilliant. I think this will perhaps change the way the education lending industry looks at application. Uh, Shweta, coming back to you. Okay, sorry. Even before coming back to you, I think the reasons I'm asking these kind of questions, and this is for the audience, is to not, since these are senior leaders, you would want to understand their vision, the way they work, the way they look at this industry, rather than me asking a lot of transaction level question. कि भाई moratorium period क्या होगा? Interest rate क्या होगा? To answer all those questions, you have EduMate to give you answers to all those things. But it's important for you to understand the vision or the line of thinking that these senior lenders have in their day-to-day functioning. So that's the reason the questions are slightly different. But Shweta, coming back to you, typically it's tainted that NBFC here interest rate will increase. Do you see those kind of questions coming a lot to your front end teams? And if yes, how do you typically manage those kind of questions? And is this question or is this even a fact that the interest rate change abruptly?
So, Priyank, multiple things, right? When we are thinking of abroad education, we all know that it doesn't come very cheap, right? And in abroad education, we keep discussing something known as return on investment, right?
Mm,
Now, every student is trying to quantify the education outcomes and match them to a certain financial outcome, right?
right.
Now, when we are in the space, right, and we offer variable interest rate loans, first of all, we need to understand that a 1 or a 2% interest rate change over a long tenure does not
Mm,
impact too much, right?
mm,
Another thing that we need to see that the student is on moratorium, right?
mm,
So there is no immediate repayment burden that they have, correct?
right.
Third, we need to see good, bad, how we see this, that every year Indian rupee
Mm,
depreciates in comparison to foreign exchange, right?
right.
Be it a GBP, USD, Australian dollars, right? Even Thai baht, correct?
Mm,
So when we have these cycles and we are currently witnessing one, right?
mm,
The interest rate fluctuation is the least that one should be worried about.
right.
Somewhere, because our current generation, the cohort who's taking a loan,
Mm,
is
mm,
still a learned generation because they
mm,
have taken into this habit of taking a loan, right? At the end
correct.
of it, 90s was when the credit boom started in India with credit
Mm,
cards, home loans, and
mm,
everything coming in.
mm,
So, if you are earning in the same currency and you're repaying in the same currency during the same period of time, right? So, the economic concept of ceteris paribus, the interest rate becomes very important. The interest rate fluctuations become very important. But when you are in such a volatile world, right, where your cost of living changes and there is a double impact because of currency fluctuation, you are taking in a loan today to be repaid tomorrow, right?
right.
In value of the money is automatically reducing
Mm,
because
mm,
the value of the money today is far more than the value of the money tomorrow. 100 rupee will fetch you lesser goods tomorrow than today, right?
right.
These are base things. I think we are fooled sometimes to rely a decision only on interest rate.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
it should not be the guiding factor. It cannot be the guiding factor, right?
Mm,
And on the same note, what matters is the student should know they will go out abroad, right? While they are the
correct.
ones who are negotiating, talking, taking the lead in documentation and processing,
Mm, mm,
they are the ones who are shifting abroad. It is their parents and the co-applicants who will be left, at least speaking. I'm not even saying servicing because the servicing is on the student, who will
right.
be left dealing with the bank or the NBFC or the
Mm,
lender,
mm,
howsoever you say. Let them be at ease. Okay.
mm,
Let them not go knock the doors. Okay. Let the institute come to them.
come to
Let there
them.
be digital channels. You
Mm,
should be evaluating speed, digital agility, digital communication. anytime connect, right? Rather than thinking that you have to wake up at a US time to reach out to an Indian call center during Indian time, right?
Yeah.
So those are things which are far more important than this entire interest rate. And I have done this mathematical calculations also. It doesn't
Sure.
impact. In long run, trust me, if the interest rates were that guiding a force, people would only be talking about it. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
So, and second part is that every lender here, while we offer a combination of fixed and variable, but given the market volatility, everybody takes a variable interest rate.
Correct.
The variable interest rate moves in guidance with the rate at which it is pegged to, which is a combination of your repo rate, it is a combination of macroeconomics and everything.
Right.
So sometimes you can't put a value to the cost. I would
Mm.
suggest take a buffer. If it
Take a
pinches
buffer.
you and you really want
Mm.
to arrive
Mm.
at an exact mathematical calculation, take
Mm.
a buffer. That is a better deal. But think about convenience, think about digital, think about all of these things rather than just putting yourself on one metric. That's an incorrect comparison.
Thank you. Thank you, Shweta. So, for the larger audience, I think a lot of us think that education loan or a loan is just a transaction, right? Uh, that is actually not the case, especially with something like an education loan, as Shweta was explaining, that there are a lot of customer touch points, a lot of milestones that you have to, work along with your lender over the next 8 to 10 years. Uh, so, I think from a convenience standpoint, from digital enablers, I think that trade-off in terms of the slight interest rate, which may change due to circumstances beyond the control of the lender, is typically minimal from an overall experience or even from an overall cash flow perspective. But thank you, Shweta, for highlighting those points. We come back to you, Jatin, Abhishek. And before we do that, another reminder, feel free to drop in your questions. I already see a few questions started coming in, but go to the question and answer tab and start putting in your questions. You may
Priyank,
not want the lenders to miss out responding to you.
yeah.
This panel is a
Priyank,
very senior panel. Yes,
I have
Abhishek?
a question. So
Yes.
how do you assess the education loan market is going on since US market has been shut down?
Hmm.
So how do you assess the market of education loan?
You're
Whether,
asking me?
yeah. So
I don't think the US market has stopped, right? I think I'm seeing enough positive offshoots, positive green shoots
okay,
for United States, Abhishek. I think the trade deal was one of the small things, and that is something that
So,
Shweta,
Abhishek,
Isha, and I were
let me
discussing.
pitch
Yeah,
in.
please,
Yeah,
please.
because
yeah,
we were
sure.
just candidly having this conversation before you joined in.
Yeah,
A shutdown is a very negative word, and I
right.
don't think we should call it a shutdown, right? Quality students are still getting visas. Genuine students definitely have a bright future.
Hmm.
It is
Hmm.
all about we need to align ourselves to the ask and the expectation, right? And sometimes the visa outcomes are a sum total of total applications because the intake appetite is now limited. Correct. If
Yeah,
there is 10 intake appetite and 20 people applies, so it's a 50% rejection rate or a 50% approval rate. And
yes,
if it is 10 intake and 100 applies, then it's 10% intake or 90% rejection rate.
yeah.
So
The approval is going down.
I do not know.
Uh,
How can you say approval is going down? Do you have
mm,
numbers on the number of visas that are getting applied?
yeah,
I think just a neutral standpoint, and this may not be the right forum, but I think there are enough green shoots available for the United States. Whatever said and done, even logically speaking, uh, I think the STEM-bound students, at least for a country like United States, are essentially being driven by India, China, and South Korea. So I don't think it may have a short-term disadvantage, Abhishek, but from a long-term perspective, and I'm sure all of us are here from a long-term perspective, we don't see any negative assessment around that. Having said that, Abhishek, my next question is about the role of co-applicant. I mean, the EMI is starting after the student graduates, after the completion of moratorium period. Why is there a need? And EMI is typically paid by the student. Why is there a need to have a co-applicant to the loan? And what is the role of the co-applicant?
Can you please repeat the question? I'm not able to hear you properly.
Sure, no problem. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. My question is that typically for education loans, the EMI starts after graduation, 6 months or 12 months after you graduate.
Yes.
So why is there a need to add a co-applicant? Because the EMI is going to come from the student himself or herself. So what is the need for a co-applicant?
Okay, Prink, as I mentioned to you, we take the co-applicant just because of the RBI mandate. Okay, as I mentioned to you, we don't check the FOIR or EBP of the co-applicant. The vital thing for us is a student and their marks and where the student is going. As I mentioned to you before, we give the full moratorium. We not ask the student to provide any kind of PSI or SI or EMI, whether he go to Russia for MBBS case or whether he go to Texas University or California University. So we give the full moratorium to the student. And sometime additional, we very soon we come with a product. Maybe on April and June, we had a conversation with the product team. Very soon, we come up with a product where we're gonna give an additional 6 month of moratorium period because these days, when we had a word with few consultants and few students in UK and USA, people facing certain problem in getting the employment, the desired employment. I'm not saying it; they're not getting the employment, desired employment.
Okay.
Before we used to give the moratorium of 1 year plus the course. But very shortly, maybe from April onward, we start giving 18 months to 2 years of moratorium period after the course completion as well. So you can see the real condition of PNB product. So our major objective is to capture the good student and provide them a funding, not providing the funding to the co-applicant. So co-applicant have a minor role. It's just because of the RBI mandate, we have to take the parents on the loan.
Okay.
Otherwise, if the student is earning well, if the student have experience, if the student is going in a good university, to be honest, we hardly check the civil of parents as well. If there is a certain kind of DPDs or overdues, certain things, we totally ignore that.
Understood.
So, co-applicant, as I mentioned, co-applicant is just for the mandate of the RBI. We are in touch with other RBI people. We're gonna launch a product very soon where you're gonna see a good tenure for a moratorium period so people can get a desired job. We're gonna give them enough time.
We look forward to that, Jatin. Thank you very much for responding to that question.
See, Priyank, as a government
Yes,
bank, we have to also follow the RBI guidelines, right? So basically, it's just a risk mitigation of RBI to add the co-applicant. Since students don't have their stable income right now, so to assess the income and future income, so we are also assigning the future income of the student in our education loan. So it's just a procedure to add the co-applicant and
well appreciated, Abhishek. Thank you very much. Isha, my next question is to you. Say a student's planning to go to United States or a student planning to go to UK. Do your products change between different geographies? Is there an assessment being done on the ranking of the colleges, or do you have a straight, simple, one fits all kind of an approach to funding education loan across geographies?
So of course, I mean, each country will have its advantages and disadvantages in terms of employability and the post-study work visa. Since the pillars of underwriting and education loan, the biggest one or the strongest one is the future employability. So of course, the country and the institute, of course. So sometimes, let me just give you an answer where it might be an institute in a otherwise not such a popular country. Like if you remove the big four, then you have certain
Mm,
European,
mm,
countries, and like France, there's HEC Paris, right?
sure.
But yes, it's one of the best institutes in the world. So it
Correct.
is going to depend on the institute primarily and the course. And then, of course, US always stands out because of the STEM inclination
Mm,
that the
mm,
country has.
mm,
So it's a combination of both, and also the post-study work visa that comes with each country. And I would also like to add that while post-study work visa is one factor, it's also the course in general. Like as a student, what was my past academics?
mm, mm,
Do I have relevant work experience? What future course or institute am I opting for? Because there's always a possibility that the student might not just continue in the same country, right? So it is dynamic in nature, multiple variables. But when we assess a student, it is based on past academics, relevant work experience, future institute and course of study. Then we of course take look at the co-applicant profile, and of course you have the credit scores that come into play. But it is quite dynamic when we come out with a decision about how to sanction a case. And when it comes to institutes, we rely on a few portals like your QS ranking and Times Higher
mhm, mhm,
Education. So these are few reference portals that we refer to. But if it is not available on those portals, because sometimes there are good institutes that may not be ranked by either of these or any others, but then there are institutes that publish their own records, right? So they tell us their placement history, what their alumni have
mm,
done. So
mm,
if we look at all of those, I guess as NBSCs we are far more flexible, so to say,
mm,
right? we do
mm.
we don't go by the straight jacket underwriting method. We look at multiple aspects of the same loan. we
Interesting.
to summarize, Priyank, we figure out ways to do a loan.
I like those choice of words, Isha.
Yeah,
So I think what I understand is that it's not a fits all, one size fits all kind of a scenario.
yeah,
Every course has its own advantages, disadvantages, and you kind of evaluate those. There's a lot of background work happening to
correct.
evaluate a program, a university, a
Work
geography to
experience,
kind of.
experience, that also plays quite an important role,
Mm,
right?
mm. Understood. Thank you, Isha. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to my last question. So I already, as I said, there are a few questions, but if you want your questions to be answered, and we only have few minutes left before we may close this call, please feel free to type your questions. Shweta, my last question to the panel. A lot of higher education, Isha did mention about some statistics about a certain percentage still doing self-funding or using other forms of credit. My question is restricted to self-funding. Do you see this as a disadvantage from a not from a lender's landscape, not from a lender's viewpoint, but from a student and family viewpoint? That why should one actually take an education loan vis-a-vis a self-funding scenario?
Okay, now this is a personal question because I'll respond to this as a mother and not as a
Would love to
financial.
hear your mother, your thoughts as a
Yeah.
mother.
So there are two things. One, I think when a student is shifting from one country to another country, there is another level of independence that is being introduced. There is a big cultural shift that is being introduced. There is also a certain level of financial independence that is being introduced, right? It is extremely important that the child values the money, correct? And
Hmm.
somewhere and maybe this is, again, I'm speaking about this more from an Indian mindset, right? When you have a loan, you think, oh, we have taken a loan.
Hmm.
That means we were short of some money. So
Hmm.
there is a huge financial responsibility that comes in. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
So one thing I would want to say that As a parent, I encourage everybody to take a loan, more to bring in financial discipline for your child,
mm,
right?
mm,
And more to bring in financial discipline for them, right? So it is important that when they are thinking, and imagine it is end of a semester, they approach the financier and say, "Oh, I need another tuition fee." Majority of the financiers will ask, "Okay, show us your transcript copy, right? Show
sure,
us how you
sure.
have done."
Mm, mm,
Right? Some may casually also come back and say, "Oh, you've got good marks. Oh, what happened?" Right?
mm,
And in addition, there is a pride that builds in. He or she knows that the money is not unlimited. And for this, what do you say? A non-measurable instance, one should take a loan. Second reason, we discussed, I'm not too sure why, but this is the second example of COVID that I'm gonna take in this short conversation this time, right?
mm, mm.
But I think when in early 2019, all of us were leading a very happy, normal life, and then
Correct.
suddenly a pandemic hit the world.
Mm,
The pandemic caused some immense casualties, but also led to a lot of financial mismanagement and financial burdens to a few. Imagine in this ever changing geopolitical world and a geopolitical nervous world, if I may add that, right? You assess that this is the cost of education, these are the monies that I have. Somewhere in these discussion, we stop and we do not account for unforeseen circumstances. So if you are using all your capital and a sizable chunk of your capital for these for these planned outcomes, any unforeseen circumstance can completely derail your calculation. So, what I suggest to everybody, take a loan, right? A, you can keep figuring out how much of disbursal that you want throughout
correct.
the tenure of the loan,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Secondly, these loans all come at a nil prepayment charges. Avail a loan if you think that the interest burden is not something that you would like or is as per your financial calculations, even with Section 80E benefits of Credla, TCS benefits, right? It's not coming in good for you.
mm, mm.
Prepay the loan. You
Okay.
have those repayment options. Another
Sorry,
very
I'm just
important,
reiterating a point since you mentioned prepayment, and I know you spoke about it a
yeah,
couple of sentences back. But does Credila typically charge a prepayment penalty, a foreclosure penalty? Are there any
no,
conditions around it?
no, we do not charge any foreclosure penalty. We do not charge any prepayment penalty for loan closures. All our loans are on variable interest rate and they do not attract any foreclosure penalties.
Thank
So,
you.
with
So Priyank, just to add, that is true for
Yes, Isha.
most lenders. There
Correct.
is also
Mm,
an RBI guideline around it.
mm, mm,
I think
mm.
unless it's a fixed rate, most of the variable loans offered by any lender don't come with a prepayment penalty, which makes it very flexible for students to choose to repay. And I echo what Shweta is saying.
Right.
Avail a loan. If you don't want it, you can choose to just prepay it.
Mm, mm, mm. In fact, thank you for bringing that point, Isha, that there's a regulation by the governing agency in the country. A lot of lenders, especially the smaller ones, have a tendency of reframing or playing with the words to charge some way of penalty. And that's where I think the partners that we work with at Seed and EduMate, there's an absolute lot of sense or lot of reason why a specific partner is working with us. We don't want to work with the smaller lenders where there's always a question mark about a lot of things. But I'm sorry to break your thought of your thoughts, Shweta. Back to you.
no, so I think these are important points. Why? Because another point I would want to highlight here why finance is important. It also gives a very credible proof of fund to
Mm,
universities and embassies. Please
right.
understand that many a times in fact, a salaried financials are far more easier than self-employed, right? But a self-employed financials may be too taxing for them to understand and decode the income levels, right?
Mm, mm,
A loan sanction letter gives you that guarantee that yes, this is the viable fund proof, right? I think with the advantages built in, and the biggest advantage, given we don't have to classify and measure the financial aspect of taking a loan, the biggest is the self-worth and the way towards independence and financial discipline that we are building for the child. That's big.
Thank you so much, Shweta. Thank you all to all the panelists for, giving us these honest responses. I think I'm sure a lot of us take a lot of takeaways from this session. Before we open up this session to the audience, allow me like about 10 seconds to showcase my screen. What I'm about to showcase to you is essentially something that we have built at Edumate. Give me a second while I'm toggling with the screens. Yeah. What we've been able to do is build some resources for all of you. So we now have an AI tool available, which of course will tell you in a matter of few minutes, maybe seconds as well, as to what could be the right option for you. However, I am not saying that AI is replacing our human interactions, but this would essentially tell you that what could be the right fit for you. And this looks at things beyond interest rate. I think one of the panelists spoke about looking at things beyond interest rates. It will speak a lot of things. It talks about pre-closure charges, part payment charges. It talks about the tenor, the flexibility of repayments, the QR that you see on the right-hand side top corner.
Priyank, we can't see. We can only see a very big Shweta Jain Credila
Uh,
Financial Services on the screen. Now I can
Thank
see my
you for
name.
highlighting that. Let me do that. Let me reshare the screen. The technology is supposed to be an enabler, but yeah. I hope it's visible now. Is it visible now?
No, we can see you on the screen, Priyank.
Wow. All right, never mind. I think what I'll do is we will share that QR code with all of you for you to go and play around with this tool. But let me open up, the questions from our audience now. Let me kind of start reading them. Give me a second. All right, this is for you, Abhishek, Jatin. What role do university ranking, course type, and future earning potential play in loan approvals? I think in some sense this was already covered, but it would really help if you can throw some quick light on this one. Jatin, Abhishek?
Regarding this question, is a domestic or
I
overseas?
think you can cover it from a generic viewpoint, while I think largely the audience is for international, but you can cover it as part of a generic response.
See, we have the interest rate starting from 6.75% in Punjab National Bank, and in the overseas we have top 50 institutes where we are giving the best interest rates over there. And apart from that, uh, definitely the rankings of institutes and these all are playing the vital roles.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Priyank, the only
Yes, Jatin.
difference between the college that fall under our list, we're providing the rate of interest of 8.10, and the colleges that's not fall under our list, the student rate of interest is 0.50 higher. That's the only difference. All the set of document, everything is remaining same. The only thing, the change is the rate of interest. The listed university is 8.10. The non-listed university is going to be 8.70. That's the only difference. The set of document, the insurance, processing fees, every single thing is going to be same. Whether the
Okay.
student is go to Russia, whether the student is go to USA.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm not gonna be partial to the student. I'm gonna treat all my student in on the same bucket. For me, the student of USA, student of Russia, Ukraine, Lithuania, Bulgaria, for me, all are same.
Understood. Appreciate the sentiments, Jatin. Isha, I want to put up this question to you. Um, is it better to opt in for a INR dominated loan, a denominated loan, vis-a-vis a dollar loan or international loan?
So I think I'm going to start with the limitation that right now, like we don't have a dollar loan. However, if the purpose is to pay a tuition fee, irrespective of the currency, we sanction the loan in INR, we disburse the loan in INR, but post that, the currency really doesn't matter, right? We are able to pay tuition fee in whichever currency. Again, like I said, I may have limited, to points to make on the dollar loan. What I understand is there are certain players who are, doing dollar loans, but it's to a very limited set of universities, and they come with their own pros and cons. I'm going to not comment on that, so to say. But
Sure.
even with an INR loan, you can, get the money in USD. So yeah, it meets the
Understood.
purpose.
Understood. Shweta, for you, uh, what are does the way loans are underwritten differ between a loan backed up with a collateral and a loan which is not backed up with a collateral?
Well, the most simple answer here is that yes, a loan backed with a collateral has additional underwriting because you need to
Hmm,
underwrite the collateral as well, right?
hmm, hmm,
However, I'm sure the intent is to talk about the risk rating, correct?
hmm,
And not the underwriting procedure. A collateral backed loan shows higher intent, right? And hence, a lender is encouraged to undertake or underwrite higher perceived risk in an application because it is secured by a collateral. Now, what does it mean if somebody, and I'm not talking per se only for an education loan, right?
hmm,
It can
hmm.
be, in fact, in education loan parlance, and that too in Credla's parlance, a secured loan completely reduces the interest rate. That is the
Okay.
biggest win.
Okay.
So, and while we were discussing on this before our webinar started,
Hmm,
coincidentally, a secured loan allows you to enjoy the collateral just the way you are doing it right now. So the property can be rented, can be enjoyed, can be self-occupied, you can run an
okay.
operation, right? It is just that the property papers are with the lender and not
Hmm,
the customer. And in such a case, if you're getting an added benefit of an interest rate, and if the customer is an interest rate sensitive customer, right, then by all means go ahead for it. Saying which, can an absolutely um, a red flag in an application be nullified just by a collateral? No, right? So
hmm,
a collateral can offer higher loan limits. A collateral can, with a collateral, one can expect reduced interest rates, can expect certain amount of risk mitigation in the eyes of a lender, but nothing beyond. But yes, we do encourage students more because there are times that we come across extremely interest sensitive students, and then that is where we definitely want to capture their interest.
understood. And what are the typical forms of acceptable collaterals, Shweta?
So, Credla, given we come from the large HDFC
Hmm,
stables,
hmm,
right? So
hmm,
we have a vast underwriting network across the India for collateral. That means be it land of any sort, residential property, commercial property, industrial property. We are happy to undertake the legal and technical for it. Credla offers 125% loan to market value on these collaterals. In fact, we also have a structured product where the collateral may not be acceptable as per the perceived norms, right? It may be falling into a village area. It may
hmm,
be a Khatabi property in Karnataka, if
hmm,
I may say,
hmm.
right? We are happy to undertake these collaterals as well. Additionally, the customer is maybe wanting to take a large loan, maybe a 60 lakh loan, and he only has a small collateral, a 10, 15 lakhs collateral. We also accept partial collaterals, right? So what we come across for the student is a weighted average loan, right? The student can do this. So we work with the loan eligibility with the student. We try and see what best suits them, how we can structure the transaction, how we can give them the loan amount that they desire, right? Which has to be a combination of tuition fee and cost of living, because we can't expect that the cost of living will be nearly zero in student life. It's abroad,
Of
right? It's
course.
very
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
So the right amount of loan, how best we can structure it, what kind of collaterals can be offered, as I explained, immovable properties. We also undertake fixed deposits with HSBC and HDFC Bank, right? So these are two banks with whom we accept fixed deposits and we can mark early in there. Again,
Okay.
just by offering collateral, again, I want to say the family continues to enjoy the collateral. Even in
Mm.
the fixed deposit case, the fixed deposit keeps renewing and get the interest keeps accumulating to the owner of the fixed deposit, right?
Right.
So if somebody has no intention to default, by all means, please take a secured loan, right? Enjoy reduced interest rates, enjoy high
Mm.
loan limits, and
Mm.
let let us all be happy with it, right?
No, I think it makes a lot of financial prudence
Yeah.
to do it in case there is a collateral available. Isha, that brings me to my next question to you. What do you think are the typical mistakes made by the student in terms of loan evaluation or in terms of starting the application? What are the typical errors that you have seen over the years?
Mm, So I don't know if we should call it a mistake, but I'd say that, the sheer fact that this is someone who's never taken a loan that we're
Mm.
talking about, we
Mm.
do expect some gaps in the documents that are provided for us to, sort of underwrite that case at the first go.
Mm. Mm.
So that is probably the first step, right, for the student to start with, to come
Right.
to a lender with as much information and
Mm.
as much
Mm.
completeness of documents.
Mm. Mm.
The other bit that we see probably, and I'm sure the others also might mirror my thoughts, that at times it is too late in the day that the student realizes that, he may want a loan. So closer to the visa dates and
Mm.
missed deadlines. So it's a good thing we are having this call in the month of February. Most students who are probably on the call are looking at the fall intake, so they have enough time. But we do see a lot of students, I'm sure you've seen it as well, where they come too late in the day, and then there's so much pressure on deadlines and
Correct.
quick underwriting, quick decision. It just creates a lot of hassle for
Mm.
the student, because he should be
Right.
concentrating more on the visa bit, but he's here struggling with the paperwork of a loan. I Other than that, I think most students now, thanks to Chat GPT, they're doing enough research, and they come pretty informed. So I would say, yeah, I mean, they just need to plan a little in advance to make sure that they are meeting the deadlines of the admission.
Thanks so much. I think we are done with most of the questions that have been asked, and also due to the paucity of time, I think we will kind of close this session for today. All your questions which have not been answered, our teams will be reaching out to each and every 200 odd of you who have attended the session. We will reach out to all of you. At EduMate, we do a one-on-one funding conversation, finance conversation with each of you to help you evaluate your options better. But before we close it, I want to give um, a quick 10-15 second elevator pitch to all our three lenders as to if there's one aspect or maybe two aspects of their product programs or their customer proposition. What are they? Abhishek, Jatin, we can start with you.
See, Priyanka, we have the best interest rate in the industry. We are offering 6.75 interest rate to the students,
Wow.
and the procedure is also simple. Uh, we are also doing digital sanction over here. In principle, a sanction letter they are getting, and
Sure.
after the in principle a sanction letter, the branch is also sanctioning the loan, and the process is also quick. So It is our USP, and I think the students can get over this and contact us for the future needs of the loans.
Glad to know.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Frank,
Thank
I
you
want
very much,
to
Abhishek.
add
Yes, Jatin.
one more thing. It's a pure education loan that PNB offers. No upselling of insurance, forex, or anything. It's a pure education loan for the student. So I suggest all the students who are looking for a loan where they focus are not focusing on the parents, just on the students. There's a PNB stand for you.
Appreciate. Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Jatin. Isha,
Thanks,
can I
Sam.
quickly have you put your thoughts onto this?
So let me start by saying that we want to be part of the students' journey right from when they start looking for which country they want to go to. We want to be partnered with them till they find that dream job. The students are young, and so are we as a business. We are agile, flexible, completely digital, like they're used to. In this day and age of Zomatos and Amazons and 10-minute delivery, we are providing an instant sanction within 10 minutes as well. So for the generation that is looking at quick decisions, we are the one-stop provider. And other than that, I'm just going to take a little more than 10 seconds.
Sure.
Here we are giving you an unsecured loan of up to 2 crores, like Priyank said. Not getting into the hassle of collaterals. Our rates are competitive. Our processing fees are competitive. Your parents get a flexible repayment option while you're studying abroad. Our partial interest starts at 1,000 rupees per month. We just want to make sure there is some contactability with you and your parents. So that's all that we really want. And with EduMate as our partner, we are transforming futures together.
Thank you, Isha. And 10 minutes is quicker than most of the Blinkit deliveries as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Shweta, over to you.
The only thing I would say, right, that Credla has amassed immense student love for 2 decades, right, of more than 2.5 lakh Indian students. Why? The thought here is it is a financially smart choice. We encourage students to take education loans because it is a financially smart choice. We top it up with seamless processes. There is a dedicated relationship manager who holds your hand even in a digital journey, right? This is further aided by certain very specific advantages of Section 80E, which is the complete tax rebate on the interest paid on an education loan. This is as per the income tax laws of India under the old tax regime, which substantially reduces the overall interest burden, right? There is also a huge TCS advantage with a Credla loan. Any foreign remittance attracts TCS. A Credla education loan does not have a TCS, right? So any remittances done abroad, they do not get a TCS. So with this, please go ahead, make your teams be realized at the pace that you want. We are there to back you up.
Thank you. Thank you, Shweta. I think this probably brings us to the end of this conversation. I really want to take this opportunity to thank all my panelists, Abhishek, Jatin, Isha, Shweta. Thank you so much. I know it being a Saturday, plus, of course, your own duties for the roles that you cater to. I think thank you so much for taking out time for this conversation. I'm sure all of us, including the participants, appreciate the time, effort, and also all your responses, candid responses. I really appreciate that. To the students who have attended this session, don't worry if some of your answers have not been answered. We'll be calling each of you to take your feedback, to speak with you, schedule your sessions, evaluate options for you, and then, of course, exposing you to the right lender. So I wish all the students who've come on this session on a Saturday afternoon, early afternoon, all the very best. And God bless. Good luck. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Priyank.
Priyank.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone,
very
for
much.
joining the
Thank
call, and
you.
wish you all a successful journey ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.